Guys, what do you not like about girls' appearance? What do you have to politely keep silent about when they marinate themselves in perfume? By the way, I haven't noticed this with young girls, but with women over 50, you first sense it with your nose, and only then do they appear in your field of vision. A 50-year-old woman on Reddit. Why so much perfume? Most likely it's somehow related to the fact that as we age, our senses become dulled. I work in a beer and wine bar, and we get just a crazy number of wine-loving women over 50 who, it seems to me, don't distinguish any flavors or smells at all, except, of course, their perfume. I don't particularly like it when girls wear those huge hoop earrings that you could easily slip your hand through. When I was a kid, I saw a child pull on such a giant earring and tear the lady's earlobe. Since then, I feel terrible anxiety whenever I see something bigger than it should be.
When they shave off their eyebrows completely and then draw some scribbles with a pencil, how do you think they would react if guys did the same thing, for example, with their mustaches? What the heck? Why is this even a trend? We need to find patient zero who came up with this nonsense.
Guys, please try this version. Fortunately, super thin, drawn-on eyebrows are a half-dead trend from the late 90s and early 2000s. Now, thick eyebrows are in fashion. I once told my girlfriend that I don't understand why they shave off their eyebrows and draw new ones on. It's weird, too. She laughed at me and said that the vast majority of girls don't shave their eyebrows, like 99%, and 999 don't. It's just that many girls naturally don't have eyebrows, possibly due to a lack of testosterone. She said that practically any girl would like to have natural, well-defined eyebrows, but not everyone is given that. Let me rephrase. Girls do have eyebrows. It's just that they are so sparse and thin that it seems like they shaved them. Testosterone, among other hormones, really does affect hair growth. Lip injections that make them bigger? I think such lips look really stupid, like the girl got stung by a bee. When young girls play around with this trend, they immediately look 20 to 30 years older. Like when Kylie Jenner first got her lips done, it looked quite okay. Now she looks more like an extra from Real Housewives. The problem is that we only notice the badly done injections. The ones that look good don't attract that much attention.
Giant butts from surgery, yes, they catch our attention, but it looks wildly ridiculous. I have nothing against plastic surgery, but it's time to understand that there's such a thing as going too far. What's wrong with people? For me, surgically done butts of any size are nonsense. By the way, deep squats build your butt really well. It might not become huge, but it will definitely look good. And then you shouldn't forget about the legs. It looks so dumb when you see a big butt but don't see the thighs that would complement it.
Duck face in photos is completely unattractive and annoying. I don't get why girls think it's beautiful. To me, it looks stupid. Usually this goes away with age. I'm just starting to explore social media, but I already see that a lot of 40-year-old women have nothing but duck face in their photos.
Girls, don't deceive guys with excessive Photoshop. If I come on a date and see that your appearance has nothing to do with your photos, don't blame me later for falling for your deception. People think that if you start showing your real appearance, it means you're petty and only care about looks. But the truth is, in such situations, it's not so much the appearance that's off-putting as the fact of the deception itself. It always annoys me because people seem to think that you should only care about one thing, either personality or appearance, but never both. I hate it when women with thick, curly hair start straightening it. I'm a huge fan of girls with big, curly hairstyles. The villain from the X-Men cartoons left us an indelible mark. Where were you when I was 15, spending an hour and a half every day straightening my hair because I thought only straight hair looked pretty and feminine?
Let me be a guy for a moment. Very long nails when they're so huge that they look like claws. For me, a chef doesn't immediately make me think of bacteria. But when I see nails like that, I immediately imagine how hard it must be for those poor people to wipe themselves.
Then I start wondering how much shit gets trapped under such nails. Even though I'm a woman, I don't understand this trend. Doing ordinary things must be so difficult with nails like that. I'm not speaking from personal experience, of course, but I've seen more than once a bank worker with huge nails barely manage to pick up money from the desk. Historically, long nails were always a sign of wealth. It was almost impossible to work with them, plus it meant that your domestic chores were handled by servants.
These finging nose rings, I have no idea how this became a thing. When I see them, I immediately think of Bebop. Just came to say that I love septum piercings, but girls' piercings? Oh man, it just adds to the collection of tasteless shit that looks like a huge pimple. Specifically, I've noticed that I've never been attracted to girls with supermodel looks, perfect bodies, perfect faces, perfect features. That's just not my thing. Girls with ordinary looks are way cooler than supermodels. It seems to be that modeling doesn't necessarily pick the most attractive people. The point is that they have the perfect body to show clothes. Personally, many models' faces remind me of some weird aliens. Supermodels among women are like bodybuilders among men. Both categories represent an ideal that both sexes strive for, but at the same time, they're not really that appealing to the opposite sex. Enlarged breasts, I'm not a fan. It's better when girls just go about with their normal boobs. Here, perception can play tricks. The whole point is that you probably notice the overly huge and obviously done breasts. Because of this, it feels like all breast augmentation surgeries result in that Perry sausage look. But in reality, there are plenty of augmented boobs around us that look so natural you wouldn't even notice them in a crowd. This applies to pretty much everything. In this thread, guys describe various things they don't like about girls' appearance, but they don't realize that they only notice them when they're done terribly. It's like when guys say they don't like makeup on girls. Oh, you do. You just don't like it when it's too obvious. Everyone writes about the same thing, so I won't be original. Cake face? When there's so much makeup that the girl looks like she's wearing a cheap mask. Shaved eyebrows, complete horror. I understand that with older women it happens naturally, but I can't explain why a 19-year-old would draw clownish eyebrows. I'm not talking about everyone. Some draw normal eyebrows. Right now, I'm talking specifically about those comically clownish eyebrows. Cake face. Once I met a girl in Tinder and invited her to the movies. While watching, we kissed a few times, and there were a couple of moments when she rested her head on my shoulder, nothing unusual. Then I get home and feel that something's off. I look down and my whole arm in my white shirt has turned beige, because the girl used just an insane amount of powder. High-waisted jeans, maybe I'm being too picky. I'm sure they're very comfortable, but ladies, high-waisted jeans don't really flatter your waist. You know, sometimes it looks like you're trying to suck in your stomach and bind it with some tight material. I'm very, very sorry if this offends anyone. I didn't mean to. Wear whatever's comfortable for you. Haircut. Oh, I want to speak to your manager. A couple of days ago, I decided to cut my hair because I was tired of my super long hair. When I came to the salon, I immediately said I didn't want the kind of haircut that makes people say, I want to speak to your manager. In the end, the hairdresser did a little differently, but it still turned out borderline. I wasn't completely happy, but I held back from complaining to the manager. I have to say, this trend really surprised me. Not in a bad or good way, just that I never would have thought that the three most popular things, drawn-on eyebrows, plumped lips, and high-waisted jeans, actually bother men in any way. Live and learn. Curvy girls, and guys too, who wear clothes 2 sizes too small. When I'm eating dinner, I don't want to look at your spilling out belly.
This applies to both women and men. I don't like it when people conform to some socially recognized archetype. For example, when a certain haircut becomes popular, and for the next 6 months you see hordes of clones on the streets.
When they have way too much makeup, I don't see anything attractive in a 3-centimeter layer of plaster. It seems to you that you don't like heavy makeup, you just don't like bright or carelessly applied makeup. I think you'd be amazed to know how much makeup goes into a natural look. I remember in high school, one of my friends told me I looked great without makeup. I had to inform him that he had actually never seen me without makeup before. The desire to have a body with strange proportions, I don't need a giant. What matters to me is that it's proportional. And small breasts, by the way, I also really like. They're much more attractive than artificial boobs. Girls without chins. It's not their fault. I would never point it out, but damn it. And I'm not talking about she's so fat there's no chin left. I mean those cases where you could draw a straight line between the neck and the lips. I think this applies to both genders. A guy without a chin isn't helped either. Yeah, for example, I know a guy with a very weakly defined chin. When he shaves, he looks just awful. But thank God, he at least grows a thick enough beard to cover it nicely. Of course, I enjoy reading the replies in this thread, but when I talk to my close guy friends and listen to them trash their women, for some reason their #1 complaint is always extra weight. It seems like such a delicate issue that even anonymously it's hard to answer honestly. I agree with them. I don't like overweight girls. I hate talking about it because women can tear you to pieces for saying that. For me, I prefer thin and average girls. Those are my preferences. I enjoy active hobbies, go to the gym to stay in shape and healthy, and I can't imagine how I would do all that if my girlfriend spent all day watching Netflix and eating junk. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments under the video, guys, write what you don't like about girls' appearance, what you have to politely keep silent about, and don't forget to check out our other episodes. Bye for now.